got to thinking the other day when I was trying to decide what recipe I was going to do for this segment that I had never done one that was specifically focused on honey. And so we're going to do that today. Now honey is closely associated with the garden, but it's not a fruit or a vegetable, which is why it hadn't come to mind. This is a honey spice bread. It's a quick bread. It's really fairly easy to put together. There's no shredding of carrots or zucchini or anything like that. And it's also a nutritious one. So I'm going to start with 1 cup of whole wheat flour. And we're going to mix the dry ingredients together first. And 1 cup of all-purpose flour. A teaspoon of baking soda. I'm also going to add to this 1 tablespoon, get that right, of baking powder. Now we have both because we have 2 acid ingredients that are going to come into play later, but there's not enough acid in either one to do all of the leavening. So we have the baking soda to take care of those acid ingredients that we've added in. I also have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just to highlight some of the flavors. And I'm just going to whisk those together. As you can see, this goes together fairly easily and fairly quickly. And then we'll work on the other ingredients. Now I have 1 large egg, and I want to get it beaten well before I start adding other things to it. So I've got it in here. We'll just whisk that together. Make sure that the whites are blended in with the yolk so that you don't get strands of the white coming out later. And also to this, I have a cup of buttermilk. Now this is one of the ingredients that has the acid in it that we're going to have the baking soda there to do some reacting against. And the last ingredient that I'm going to add is 1/2 cup of honey. Now again, remember that if you spray or oil your container when you measure that, it's going to come out much easier. It's real important at this stage to make sure that you get the honey blended in. Otherwise it tends to float to the surface or make a layer of gumminess inside the bread as it cooks. Now the honey that I'm using is a liquid honey. There are other forms of honey. If you would get honey in the comb, you're going to want to extract it first so that you can blend it in, obviously. And if you have honey around for a long time, it's apt to turn darker on you and also get a stronger flavor. The honey itself, the darker it is, the more pronounced the flavor tends to be anyway. But as it sits and ages in your cabinet, it tends to get even stronger. All right, simply adding those together and blend that well. Now since this is a quick bread, we don't want to blend them together too much or it will get too tough of a texture. See if I can get it out of the whisk here with any degree of ease at all and finish up with my spatula. And then I have a 9x5 loaf pan. We're simply going to pour this into there and then put it into a 350-degree oven that you've already got preheated and ready to go. And you're going to bake it for somewhere between 45 to 60 minutes, and that's a wide range. Because honey tends to darken before some other kinds of sugars, you may find that it starts to get a little bit too dark and you may think it's done. So be sure to use a toothpick test, stick it into 2 or 3 places into the bread when you think it should be about done. It'll start smelling terrific after about 20 minutes, so don't use smell as your determining factor. And if it comes out clean, then it's going to be ready to go. And when you finish, you get this terrific loaf of bread that is great with coffee, with breakfast, and I think you're going to really enjoy this one. It's honey spice bread for Oklahoma Gardening. I'm Barbara Brown.